2, 1. So, hello everyone and welcome. Today it's an old format is back. This type of a Red Dead Online podcast. I was not doing it for a while just because there were no interesting topics, and today we have some interesting topic because all this thing with Red Dead Online being neglected by Rockstar and rise of this Save Red Dead Online hashtag and movement. And today we probably have an interesting discussion and debate with my guest Gtamen, because he posted a video in which he's more on a dark side that Red Dead Online is dying no matter what, and the Save Red Dead Online hashtag is not gonna change anything. I'm pretty sure we will have an interesting discussion, but to me it looks like our positions on this topic, points of view, are not that different, despite the fact that it might look like. Anyway, I ask everyone in chat to be polite, to stay polite, and if you've been on this podcast, you know the rules. I communicate mostly with guests. I'm trying to keep an eye on chat, but it's not like usual stream, right? There will be very low attention to chat. And I need just to say that I'm streaming with a webcam, so you can see my face. And if you want to see GTA man face, link in the description to his YouTube channel. He's streaming on Twitch, so you will have to do one more action. Unfortunately, I put a link to a YouTube channel. Anyway, hello, dude. Hello. Say hello to the audience. I hope that
hello, audience.
Yeah,
I'm here after the intro. I have entered the arena of the discussion.
So let me say why I actually decided to invite you, because I saw your tweets on Twitter in which you first of all you said to dude who was using Save Red Dead Online hashtags that it's pointless, it's not gonna change anything. And also I watched your video. So let's begin with your perspective on Save Red Dead Online. Why do you think it's not gonna change anything?
Because it's history repeating itself. You might remember the clown movement. How much did that actually do?
Oh, we don't know.
How many times have we had conversations about Rockstar, please communicate better. Rockstar, please don't go after people using mods. Rockstar, please don't do this. And they just continue to go down the same path they always do, just doing what they please. It's just history, or I'm just basing it on the history of it. That's kind of the short of it. Without rambling on for too long.
So you're really pessimistic about the possible future of this, let's say, movement. It's not like a clown movement, but it's similar in my opinion. Just because you saw no result in clown movement at all, because I think there was some result.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think there was at least some partly result, because they started to communicate actually right after clown movement. Also, Take-Two, during the investors call, some of the investors actually asked them about clown movement, and you know what? It was the main purpose to share this situation, share our point of view as a community behind this Red Dead Online community. So public big media, gaming media, will tell about this. So maybe someone from Take-Two's shareholders will find out that Red Dead Online is actually in a pretty bad state, and Rockstar is doing bad jobs, and that's why probably Take-Two is losing money, and so on and so on. And I think this time effect might be the same. It's not a big changer, I agree with you, but at least something.
Do remind me though, because this is a while ago for me, so I don't full on remember it. But the way that I remember the clown movement, it was a whole thing for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. Oh. And we ended up just getting only an update on the newswire that was combined with with GTA Online, and what was basically coming in the summer and beyond. That's what ended up being the result of that, right?
Not really. It was like for 1 week only. It got so I've made a stream with all this a lot of clowns on Friday, I believe, and or on Saturday, doesn't matter. And on Tuesday, it was already in all the major media, and I believe that either that week or next week, Rockstar announced Naturalist. They posted a Naturalist announcement and they released it like next week. So I'm not saying that it was caused by clown movement, obviously, but things were growing rapidly. Not sure if growing is a real word. Not real, but suits here. I'm not a native speaker, but it was pretty fast. Yeah, so I'm not saying that it's impossible that they can make Naturalist update in like a few days, right? It definitely was not caused by the clown movement. I'm not saying this. I'm just saying that maybe they were planning to release it later or something, and maybe they changed their opinion. Maybe, you know what, not because of the clown movement itself, but because it caused Red Dead Online to be trending, to be present in social media, and it's a perfect moment to release your update. So, I mean, I'm not saying that it was necessarily, the big success of clown movement, but some people say that it might have changed anything. So I just scrolled to see. So the full lobby of clowns was made on 12th of July, and Naturalist update was announced on 24th of July. So here are the dates.
Oh, like as here, but here, so this might be me a bit too pessimistic. But what I'm thinking is that this was kind of already like planned, because a DLC
Probably.
like that, like when this remind me, Naturalist came out in what was it, July time or something? It was at least 2 weeks before GTA Online update, right?
Announced on 24th of July and released on 28th. So it was released next week. So let's say it was announced on Friday and released on Tuesday. Something like
Yeah,
this.
pretty
Extremely
simple stuff.
fast.
Right, and it was also 2 weeks before GTA Online, right?
Yeah.
Which had the Los Santos Summer update, which was like August 14th, around that time period. So, to me, based on previous release schedules and whatnot, that to me seems very much like something that was already planned, that was going to happen regardless.
Probably.
Because an announcement on Friday and a release date on Tuesday has been the same for God knows how long. So, I like to base my opinions and all that stuff just solely on facts. I'm not just talking out of my ass because, this is probably how it is. I don't particularly, believe in that. I always like to stay fair and balanced too, but when like the situation with Red Dead, to me, it's just kind of more clear as day. And while I'm seeing an awful lot of folks in mentions and whatnot that are just like not having bothered to even get the pure essence of the video they have uploaded, because the whole point of the video and the whole point of me behaving like the way I suppose I am when it comes to my opinion is because I have been here since day one. Like I've had the Ultimate Edition. I played it since day one as much as you can play it since day one. So like to kind of show me off like a GTA shill and blah 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 blah. Yeah, sure, I get it. It's like it's the easy thing to go for. But I do also still care about the game, and I also want it to be better. But I kind of recognize the fact that having yet another like hashtag or whatever, I don't think it's gonna do much, for the simple reason that there's nothing currently in the pipeline. I don't know. Again, this is something that I have to ask you rather than me having that information at me presently. But the Naturalist update, around that time, was there already something happening within the QA beta?
Yeah, QA beta was updating constantly
Mm-hmm.
for quite some time.
Yeah.
Just like
And
with any other
currently, that's not
update,
happening.
I'm sorry for interrupting you, just like with
No, sure.
any other update in Red Dead Online's history, since it was obviously released on a PC, because it's from Steam. But yes, I got your point, QA beta is not being updated for months now. For months.
Yeah,
It's
so it's like
wild.
it kind of reaches a point where like all the evidence is pointing towards nothing going to change and nothing going to happen. And like the main that video or just my overall thoughts is really that I am also just frustrated with RDO. Like I too am frustrated. Like it reached a point in my stream where I just don't even want to talk about it because it just makes me depressed.
I understand this feeling actually, because at some
Yeah.
point back in December when they did it first time, like few days before that, I knew that it's gonna happen from, all the data, QA beta not being updated, no news, no mentioning GTA Online, but not Red Dead Online. Anyway, I've made a video saying that Red Dead Online is dead. It received like relatively a lot of criticism, and people were like, "Oh, you just hating." But when it happened, I was kind of down because I knew it's gonna happen. But still, when you predict something with high probability and when it happens, it's like two different stories. You still have some hopes, right? And anyway, I was planning to stream Red Dead Online, and instead I streamed something else just because I didn't want to even stream this game, despite the fact that I love this game a lot and I spent like countless hours in it, and still it has this bad feeling. But yeah, I understand. That's why actually I decided to invite you, because on Twitter I saw people like basically attacking you for that video that you posted about Red
Yeah,
Dead
someone told me
Online.
to die, which was interesting.
That's usual thing. Twitter,
It's like, damn, dude, why are you gonna call me Red Dead? That's crazy. That's
Yeah,
like,
but
no,
I
dude.
mean, I saw that video, and that's something that I begin this stream with. I had a feeling that we are more on the same page, and you are more on the same page with all Red Dead Online players that people see, actually, especially when.
Well, yeah, but that's the whole issue with, I guess, a video like that. Like, if you were to have a look on my channel, the amount of times I've basically like been frustrated. Heck, there is a video on my channel currently private because I, actually kind of went through like specific people within the company rather than just like saying Rockstar. So I private it because I feel that it's very important to just say Rockstar. So it's a global thing rather than attacking specific developers, which we can transition into saying if you're currently busy with attacking specific developers who also happen to just celebrate the fact that they got a new job, go fuck yourself. You're a piece of shit. Moving on. Public service announcement done. But when the daily challenges change came, like I lost my shit, and it's just one of those another nail in the coffin. And I personally feel that Red Dead Online just keeps, at this point, the coffin has more nails in it than is actually wood, because it just keeps getting kicked while it's down, and it's just like, sheesh, when does the beating stop? And for me, like from your point of view, I get it. You're sticking with the game because you also have a channel that is effectively relying on it as well. But from my point of view, like I too made Red Dead content. I too whenever there's a new update, I went and checked it out and did the things that I was curious about and stuff. But it just comes to a point where it's like, is there really any more point? Like what is still here? Because with a game like Red Dead and with the frequency of update it's getting, and at this point not getting, like it's always going to be compared to its big brother. And that was part of my frustration a lot of the times as well, where you look at something like GTA Online, like getting a casino heist right the day before Red Dead gets arguably one of the most broken updates in its history, which was Moonshiners. Like I was there, I was upset with everyone that Red Dead was being treated that way. I looked at Moonshiners and thought, man, this is Bunkers 2.0, and it's worse.
Yeah, Moonshiners was broken because animals disappeared on consoles. And however, so let me. The borderline is like I agree with you on your statement that Red Dead Online is in terrible state right now, and it's all like Rockstar's fault actually,
Definitely,
and it's so far it looks like terribly bad, but like I still, to be a debate, I should disagree, and I think that at least trying to make some sort of a public statement like this, save Red Dead Online, basically, is just a lot of people are saying that they are interested in Red Dead Online enough to do at least anything, and it's kind of valuable in modern world. And anyway, at least trying to do this, trying to accumulate as many opinions from players as possible. I'm not saying that necessarily will change something, but it can change something, and it's not that big of a deal to post a hashtag. So that's the first point where I disagree with you, because I think that it does no harm. It actually lets people to express their emotions. Basically, it's like an expression of emotions. I want Red Dead Online to be saved. You're saying, can it affect Rockstar's decision? Well, maybe, but chances are small. But still, like small chances are fine. So it's where I kind of disagree with you, that Red Dead Online hashtag, save Red Dead Online, cannot change anything, and therefore it shouldn't be, a thing. But I actually watched your video, and I kind of disagree on a few statements as well. Like, first of all, you begin this video with saying that houses and farms are not gonna change anything. Can you, if I obviously translated it correctly and said it here, can you like explain why?
Okay, well, let me put it this way, right? Talking from a GT Online point of view, have you played? I'm assuming you've played GT Online as well, because
Yeah.
I've seen a few things like scrolling through your channel real quick. When you go into your apartment, what exactly do you do in there?
Yeah, so obviously you can go to shower and sink here, and not much
Yeah.
else, watch TV and stuff. But like
Yeah.
some mechanics, some in-game mechanics are, how to say it, attached to your apartments, like for different properties that you buy.
Right. So, to give a better example, then your casino penthouse. How much do you utilize that, and what does it add to the game? When is the last time you went in there and played poker? When's the last time you went in there and looked at all the collectibles you spent millions of dollars on?
Yes, but making this statement, you assume that Rockstar are not evolving, that they will just, copy-paste mechanic from GTA Online into Red Dead Online, pretty much like they did with Moonshiner Bar. And actually, it's my personal opinion, I think that Moonshiner Bar is more fun property than any property in GTA Online. So they've made a small step ahead here. So if they will, if they will add something, some property on which they will actually work and implement some new ideas, it might be a completely different experience than in GTA Online, because it's a different games. So
Right. But touching on the evolvement statement, if you want to talk about it like Rockstar evolving, let's have a look at the agency, which is, just another property.
yeah,
I mean, it might just be like a limitation on Rockstar side when it comes to GTA Online, and I definitely agree that something like the Moonshiners Bar is definitely a much better example of a social space. But I feel that social spaces as a whole don't add any gameplay. If you look at, for example, GTA Online with the casino update, it didn't really add any gameplay, and it's kind of in a way similar to Red Dead with its moonshiners. Sure, you had your social space, you had your moonshiners business, but you were having they also added 6 new missions, and that was pretty much it. Aside from all the new features, better known as bugs, they didn't bother fixing until May.
as always.
Oh, that shit was so frustrating. Oh well. So I don't like this is personally myself. I don't see any like what I'm looking for in updates, and especially in a game like Red Dead now, you need gameplay, you need replayability, you need stuff to do, stuff to go for, reasons to log in. To me, it's not a reason to log into Red Dead Online to hang out with my friends. For the simple reason is that I can jump in the Discord call and do the same thing. Matter of fact, I could even play a different game while I'm doing it, and they could play a different game, so everyone is happy. So I get it. The vibe of Red Dead does suit something like having your own homestead, having your own farm, but it, like the game, like sure, if it's being added as an additional thing to the main concept of the DLC, then yeah, sure. But I think if it's going to be sort of like, hey guys, you can buy houses now. But realistically speaking, you also have to consider the fact that currently for Red Dead, or what they were doing, I guess, because we don't know if they even are going to bother, considering the QA beta is nowhere to be found, is that having a one-row update at the time is that you really have to start to think, do you really want to have an update that is solely going to be houses or farms or anything along those lines in a game where practically most people are screaming about wanting to be a cowboy in a cowboy game? I've had someone on yesterday as well, doing something similar like today, but having some more, community members behind the hashtag as well. And one of the arguments was, well, what we could do is we could have like a more story-driven approach to Red Dead. And I think that would really fit it. Like, it was going on about chapters and how you could be in the farm. But the thing is, with the farm in particular, is that if you look at single player, when you are at the farm, and to avoid spoilers, I'll not mention more than that, it makes sense to why you are at that farm. There's a story happening, there's development, there's character development. But in Red Dead Online, you're playing with a mute, and you'll sit there milking a cow, wondering what you're doing with your life.
Well,
kind of funny about
I would kind of disagree with you here, because in Red Dead Redemption 2, on a farm, we have a lot of mechanics that don't actually develop story, like, at all. This growing all these vegetables, so milking cows and stuff like this. All this can be implemented in Red Dead Online very well, in my opinion. So make it a money-making method, because people love this type of grind. I know it doesn't sound fun, but it's something that people spend hours and hours without even mentioning it, especially in a game like Red Dead Online, because you're talking about fun all the time, but it's my point of view. For me, GTA Online is fun. It's like, let me put it this way. GTA Online is type of fun when you meet with your friends, you go to bar, you drink beer, then you go to strip club, and then you wake up in the morning and you don't know where you are and what kind of move woman is that close to you. That type of fun, like crazy, probably not healthy and stuff. And Red Dead Online, on the other hand, is a different kind of fun. It's like pure immersion. It's like, instead of going to the bars that evening, you just sit close to your fireplace, you drink whiskey, and you listen to Rachmaninoff, if it makes sense. This kind of fun. Completely different two kind of funs and experiences. So what I'm trying to say is that social places, that's why Moonshiner Bar works better in Red Dead Online, despite the fact that it's basically copy-paste from GTA Online. And that's why farm might work. If they implement farm, implement some mechanic, implement some money-making method with it, and implement some social aspect. I don't know which one. Maybe you sell your potato to other players or something like this. I don't know. They should think about it.
Here, catch. Dunk.
Yeah. So
You start throwing potatoes at each other instead of dynamite.
Yeah, like snowballs in GTA Online. I don't know why we don't have this mechanic in Red Dead Online, despite the fact that snow was so much longer available in Red Dead Online. But anyway, you see my point is, what I'm trying to say is that, yeah, it might sound boring, but actually a lot of people will enjoy it. And important thing, one, you definitely know that one of the biggest problems with Red Dead Online is completely broken economics, in terms of there is nothing to spend your money on, like literally. And farm can change it. Like, imagine you can buy farm and you can customize all the stuff there. And again, not like with GTA Online when you just buy the whole decoration, right? Set of decoration. But each painting on the wall you can buy, each like piece of furniture. I'm not quite sure if engine can handle it, but at least in some form. It can be like endless hole in which you can throw money, if there is some reason to do it.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree that social spaces and like that farming could be cool and everything like the housing space and all this stuff. But my main concern as well, and this is mostly just about like the wider audience. I mean, having a quick glance at my chat, if you don't want to crucify me for doing so. Someone just initially mentioned that if he wanted a farmer update, that he would play Farming Simulator. I personally feel that social spaces definitely have a place, but when you think about it, what Rockstar is going to try to focus on is not only make an update for those core fans that are currently now wanting to have that farming, like the farmer, for example. It also has to appeal to a wider audience, right? Like this, like how are they? Like, do you really think that when they?
I'm sorry, but it's a property. I have to interrupt you. Like, property is number one thing that people are saying they want to. Okay, it's number one and number two because there are also heists, like train and bank robberies, which basically should be like a heist. Anyway, like every single player responds that he wants to have properties in this game, in Red Dead Online. It's one of two major things that people are asking for. So I would say that it will appeal to extremely wide audience if farms or other types of real property will be added. Because you know what, like Moonshiner Bar does not belong to us technically. It's Maggie's property. It's not even ours. We are still homeless in Red Dead Online. Like we owe nothing, despite having like insane amount of money. So
yeah, okay, but one thing I'm curious about though, like I don't know if there's any data on it, but and this is just me mostly just being curious about it as well. How many players do you reckon have that obscene amount of money? I think it's probably like this is most likely like the 1% of the player.
I will tell you now, like exact numbers.
Oh, you actually have exact numbers? That is
based on a pretty big data sample. So it's surprisingly small amount of people, yes, because players in general are like poor, but it's still not that small. And I know that, audience of my channel, even if I have like 40,000 people voting, is still not a clear representation of the whole player base. But it's, it's as close as possible to be a representation of at least active part of the community, people who play like recently. So like I made a vote. I'm just scrolling right now trying to here we go. How much money do you have?
Like you're filling time trying to like justify like 40,000 people being like a very good sample size.
40,000 is a really good sample size.
So I'd hit me with it.
So, sorry, you disagree that 40,000 is a good sample?
No, I'm saying that 40,000 is a good sample size.
Yeah, because I had a guest who was debating statistics in general, so it makes me, it triggers me, but it's my personal thing, no worry. Anyway, I've made a voting 7 months ago. How much money Red Dead Online do you have in Red Dead? How much money Red Dead Online dollars do you have in Red Dead Online? Out of 40,000 voters, and by the way, I need to mention it, I've made a separate voting like recently, and from that vast majority, there were also 40,000 people, and vast majority are around level 100. So average level is like 120, let's say. It's not a new players, it's not a beginners, and it might be shocking a little bit, but anyway, less than $2,000, having 38% of people who responded. So, and I remind you, like, average level, say, is 120. So, 2,000 to 5,000, 17%, 5,000 to 20,000, 18%, 20,000 to 100,000, which I personally see as enough money, right? Because if you have more than 20,000, you're probably good. 17% and 100 plus 10%. So out of this, active player base, let's say 27% of the players don't know where to spend the money, like, because they have more than 20,000, and probably
I think
much
the
more.
other percentages of people, like if we're gonna be honest, they don't really have a reason to grind for the money.
Yeah, it's
I
also
think that's
true.
probably also.
Yeah.
I'm actually quite curious. I don't know if you have any data on that, considering the fact you seem to be the data collecting man of RDO. So you're gonna have a field
Yeah,
day with
I
this one.
probably
Haha.
have. Yeah.
Do you have any data on how many people reach? I guess what's the trophy or achievement for? I think it
50.
was rank 50, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
How many people stop playing after rank 50, or maybe even continue on to rank 100? Because I think that percentage of people dropping off after they got the achievement is probably pretty high.
Yeah, but we cannot tell it, unfortunately. So from there is no official data to prove it, and there is no way I can make a pool to gather that data. But yeah, I agree with you that after reaching,
like-
it's like, you know what is the funniest thing? It's not too many players are reaching level 50 anyways. Like from the whole people who started playing Red Dead Online, according to the SteamDB achievements or from PlayStation that I saw. If I remember correctly, like, I know I don't remember correctly, but anyway, it's a pretty small number, definitely less than 20%. No, even like 5% or something. So yeah, I see your point. Most people are stopping playing. A lot of people, at least, are stopping playing when they reach level 50. But there is a reason for that, right? Because game has nothing to offer on higher levels. It's like the stupidest thing about Red Dead Online, in my opinion. It has
GTA
no
Online
end
too.
game, no end game at all. Like, but you said about GTA Online as well, or they are different. in
GTA Online has the same issue where, like, long time and higher ranked players like don't really have anything to go for. But that's not really from money point of view, considering the fact that you can just buy a new car and call it a day. And then you have to play Cowboy again for a few days.
But it's a kind of a motivation. At least you need to play Cowboy for a few days. It's not a thing in Red Dead Online. In most cases, if you've been playing for quite some time, you don't even need that money. There is nothing to spend them on. It's just a number on your screen. You don't really. There is no reason to grind at all. And you see, as I tried to fix this with Capitale, it's that stupid idea, in my opinion, to add another currency when you already screwed the economy so bad, even though it's a third currency. But they implemented it in such a terrible way. It's just so stupid. I don't know who came out with this idea that it's gonna work, but
I think I saw a great comment on my YouTube about that. Someone was mentioning how the reason why Capitali exists is because it's because they know that there's people out there who would just be able to like straight up buy everything, and so like would just have to give them a new thing to like basically keep playing the game. But it just ended up, honestly, Capitali was handled in such a horrific way. Like, do I really want to spend all that time gathering enough Capitali to play like missions that are not really all that exciting? Like, they're like objectively they're not really worth the grind.
yeah.
Like, because I don't know. I think blood money, I think, has been spoken about plenty of times already as well.
But it's just bad. It's just like
it's just another it's just another example of like they're focused more on trying to like keep people in the game for as long as possible. Hopefully, mostly the casual players, and like the long term players, kind of whatever. You see the same thing in event weeks as well. Like I said this yesterday as well. When it comes to event weeks, It's very much focused on like newer players, and there really isn't that much that they can do in event weeks as well, which is kind of why, in my opinion, in a way, the month-long event weeks probably makes sense because what you want to have another week where you can have double money on PvP and make like $2 more. Like it does signal, unfortunately, that they just care less and less.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
that's,
mean,
you know,
it's actually, in my opinion, it's exactly what made so many players mad and actually caused this save Red Dead Online thing. It's not the thing that people hate necessarily monthly event as a concept, because I saw a data on different channels. I believe I was making a poll as well, and people there are a lot of players in the community who are saying they don't care about weekly updates because it's not an update anyway, it's just a portion of reused items in best case scenario, and usually it's just bonuses and discounts that you don't care about after level 60 or so. So like, people are not that in love with weekly events, but the thing what made people mad, especially what happens is Thursday, is that this monthly update is nothing but an indicator that Rockstar don't even bother to spend any sort of an effort on Red Dead Online. I mean, they reused pictures in the newswire. They couldn't even make new pictures, new images. It's like they're not only reusing content now, they are reusing pictures. Like, what a shame. It's so bad. And
yeah, I mean, as a YouTuber, this is appalling. Like, we always have to make a new thumbnail.
yeah, usually you just steal a new picture from the Rockstar newswire, put a text on it, and here you go. And now,
Now I know why you're upset. You had to make your own thumbnail this time.
but I mean, I would be fine making like any thumbnails if there was a Rockstar editor in how you call it. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. If there was a way to make some cool pictures in game, if a game allowed you, just like you can do in Red Dead Redemption 2, like I can make awesome thumbnails in Red Dead Redemption 2. In Red Dead Online, not so much, because this photo camera concept is not that great, in my opinion, and always
when the
looks
advanced
stupid.
camera came out, I was crossing my fingers so hard. It was going to be Rockstar editor, and it was like, nah.
Everyone was hoping that it's gonna be an editor, but I mean,
it's
fine.
like you made one of the most beautiful games of all time. You're like, you know what, the Rockstar editor? Nah, we're good.
I don't actually see any just like, you know what's the biggest problem? I can say the same phrase about most of Rockstar's decision in Red Dead Online, and this phrase sounds like, I have no idea why they decided to do this, like, why there is no Rockstar's editor. It will help them promote this game heavily. I mean, there are literally thousands of people who just log into Red Dead Online to make some pictures, I'm pretty sure, with their friends, because they love
free promotion.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the whole thing. That's one of the reasons why GTA Online is so popular, because people keep posting pictures of it.
Yes, exactly. And there are many other smaller, like, for example, not a smaller decision, but the whole naturalist role. Who decided that it's a great idea to spend time and effort and resources on developing this? When people are literally telling you, we want robberies. We want robberies. Like, who's in charge? That's the biggest question. Like, is there some sort of a plan and I'm just too stupid to understand it? Is it like a 300 IQ level of a plan? Maybe,
well,
but
they were basically motivating you to stick your little prick in animals, you know?
yeah, but maybe someone asked for this, but I literally saw not a single person who was saying like, yeah, wow, cool. I was always wanted to sedate animals. It's so fun. Oh, maybe, you know what? Maybe there is some. Maybe they saw on Twitch that there are a lot of people who want to simp and get only punishment for that, and they added Harriet as a character that just literally punishes you all the time. But it's my only theory, only reasonable explanation I see why naturalists exist.
I mean,
Because
if you look at so curious actually. So what are you like? I don't think I'm gonna be. I don't think I'm gonna be surprised by the answer. But what do you reckon was the best update in Red Dead Online?
Frontier Pursuits and like,
Yeah, well, what a surprise. But like,
I mean,
objectively, have we had a good update since Frontier Pursuits?
okay, let's say concept in the Moonshiner update was pretty cool. It's the biggest problems that they ruined the game completely with execution, but the concept was fine. I mean, I like the idea behind Moonshiner update. You know, small story, not something. Not a level of Red Dead Redemption 2 single player, but I mean, I enjoyed it a lot. Some different missions, some new mechanic, some sort of a property, you know, something to spend money on. So I think Moonshiner, and we have to keep in mind that it's a December update, and traditionally, at least until this year, they had a big update in Red Dead Online in summer and small update in December, and vice versa in Red Dead Online. Or in GTA Online, I'm sorry. Summer update was smaller, December had the biggest update. So as for, you know, this smaller type of update, I think Moonshiner is fine, actually. I just, you know, animals disappeared.
I'm definitely not shit talking the missions at all. Like the story in the missions were cool, but like as an update as a whole, like, are you gonna clarify an update to be good when you just like again, it's one of those things where at that current time, Moonshiners came out like right after Frontier, like it was this next one after Frontier Pursuits, right?
Yeah, in December.
Yeah, and then so what they like the general vibe that I got from it is that they do Frontier Pursuits, and then they release one role, which is effectively Bunker from GTA Online, and they also add 6 more missions, which you have to, you know, I think that was the first signs of all the cooldowns we have in the game, which is a whole different topic, but pisses me off. And then after Moonshines, we had what? Was it Naturalist?
Naturalist. It was after Moonshiner. Next after
Games went
Moonshiner.
out for so long and had so little substantial updates. It's difficult to say how many updates it had.
There were not too many of them, so it's, you
Yeah.
know.
So it was Naturalist, which I mean, let's be honest, that was like, you know, that was another shovel in the grave.
Yeah, but it was
then
big.
after-
You know, there were technically there
big,
were
yeah.
a lot
I mean,
of
it definitely
content.
added some good things, like
Yeah.
you know the hunting and like making the legendary animals and all this stuff.
Quality of
it
life.
did cool things, but it wasn't like so from an objective point of view, the updates that they added to the game, like Naturalist, it did a lot of cool things. Like it had more things for those people who enjoyed hunting. Moonshiners was really the social aspect of the, you know, of the bar and like having your own moonshiner business, a little bit of like passive income, and then also the storyline and the missions. But the problem that I have with like those missions and then following it up with the bounty hunter, I believe, there isn't really anything there where you're like, I'm on the edge of my like those 3 updates or those 3 roles rather should have been combined into one, because that's what was the strength of the Frontier Pursuits. I'm someone, if I hear the word collector, I'm grabbing my blanket and I'm going to bed.
I'm doing collector right now during the stream and just
Yeah.
saying all the time what's the background. It's a perfect for background on your stream when you talk, you know. No
Yesterday I
need
was
to
just
use
going around
brain
the map
cells.
doing like fucking, you know, moonshiners and all stuff out of sheer desperation to have some Red Dead gameplay going on. But now I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'll stick to GTA for a day. I was gonna say, the strength of Pursuit, Frontier Pursuits, was that I'm someone who is not interested in collectibles. I've done enough trophy and achievement hunting to last me with that stuff for a lifetime. So I'm good. Hunter on the other side, or trader, sorry, is more interesting because you can explore the world. You can hunt for animals. You can, you know, have you have a passive business while it's also relatively active too. Bounty Hunter really fits Red Dead Online, and it makes sense. It's part of the world. Like that update made sense within the world, and it made sense because you had 3 different options to go for, thus also 3 different roles, 20 ranks for each of them. You had a long-term goal. It lasts you for a while. Moonshiners, on the other hand, just had one thing, and the trend kind of kept going on. So people didn't have choice. People lost their choice whether or not they want to participate in a role, because they either had 2 options. Either they can suck it up and play the role and complete it, or they can go and log off the game. And that was it for that update then.
Yeah, but I mean, there was enough of a content if we talk about like how many hours you need to spend to open all the is connected to a moonshiner. It was quite wild, and it has some replayability. So they introduced replayability, because in Moonshiner story, we for the first time has this choice of a difficulty. It was introduced, and you know, higher difficulty might be challenging on a console. So they made some improvements, and they like. I mean, I'm comparing to Blood Money, let's say, because Blood Money, in my opinion, has like 0 replayability. I don't know. Really low replayability. Yes, stories are cool, but like, I'm not quite sure if anyone is grinding, like, not even grinding, but playing these opportunity missions for the 3rd time ever. So
I think I played all of them once. I might have even missed out on having played one at all. I just reached 50k.
Yeah.
I just reached 50 capitali that I got through, through like the outlaw pass. And then I was like, well, I got 50, so whenever a new one comes out, I'll hop on the game, check out the mission, and then log off again.
Actually, you know what's funny about it, you just said? There is a cap for 50 capitale, and, you know, it sounds stupid, but it's their solution to this deflation, to the process where money stop costing anything until the time of the next update, and they fixed it by simply putting the maximum amount of capitale that you can handle. If we will take a look at capitale as on the 3rd currency, which it kinda is, they decided to fix the major issue with Red Dead Online, the issue that like pretty soon, at least between updates, people are getting enough money to not care about grinding anymore. And they fixed it in such a stupid way. I mean, it's better than no fix at all, but I think they could have imagined something better. But at least they tried to fix it, so they are kind of, you know, thinking about stuff. And in many situations, I see the same pattern. They see the problem and they try to fix it as easy as possible, like to spend a smallest amount of effort, but kind of fix the situation. As you know, like if you are shipping in a ship. Probably ship a boat, and your boat gets a hole and water starts to sink, and you just pick a chewing gum and place it on this hole, so like problem fixed. And in many situations I see some doing the same, especially with Capitale. So it's kind of annoying, but I mean, it might be a reason for some optimism. At least they know about problems, and they definitely know about problems. Actually, it's one of the points that I saw in your video, and I want to kind of have, you know, different point of view on it. Got to give a different point of view on it. So you said that if I remember correctly, you said that save Red Dead Online is pointless because Rockstar knows about all these problems anyways, and there is no reason to tell them about it. So they have all the data, and I agree with you. Because they obviously know about all the problems. They obviously know that there are a lot of players who are willing to play and even pay real money for Red Dead Online, but for some reasons they're doing nothing. But I see, I don't actually see any purpose of Save Red Dead Online in telling something to Rockstar directly. I see that like it's just we want to tell to all people around who care about gaming about this situation, and in that case, you know, this public opinion might kind of force Rockstar to do changes, because they, I don't know if they care about the public image, but maybe they do. So, yeah, like, give your comment.
If they cared, okay, sir. If they cared about their public image, do you really think they would continue to take down all those mods from PC and all that stuff?
Yeah, it makes no sense. I mean, it's just stupid.
Like, I mean, it's just like they don't have a reason to change, and that's the sad part about it. Like, factually speaking, there's nothing like GTA Online. There's nothing like Red Dead
Yeah.
Online. They have the monopoly on the market. So whether you have a hashtag or not, they won't give a shit, because they are the only online cowboy game that you can play that is on the same level as of quality as they have released. So they have nothing to fear. The people that are like, we want a better cowboy game, have no other cowboy game to go to. So, you know, what are you gonna do? Like, start playing Call of Juarez or something? You know, the single player game. You're not gonna get the
It's
same
true.
things.
It's true. However, I don't know. Have you watched? But have you seen the Google Trends for GTA Online, for example? It's heavily decreasing. It's a stagnation. They are losing, and they will lose a lot. It's like, despite the fact that I personally enjoyed the Contract DLC, in my opinion, it's kind of fun, but it had no real effect. The interest is getting lower and lower in GTA Online. Probably
Please,
because
no,
it's
I
time.
need to make a living.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a real thing. There is it's not like they will have a competition in the same area, right? It's not like there is another GTA Online on the market, on Red Dead Online. But let's not forget that every game has competition without its genre. So they are competing with single-player games. They are competing with Fortnite. They are competing with something stupid, name it, I don't know. Some other games that is taking over the market and taking people's attention and money. So they kinda have a competition. Yes, not inside of this genre, because they have a monopoly, which is always bad. Like, it's never good to have a monopoly, but they still have a competition, and they still soon will have to change or release GTA 6 or something like this. So maybe, you know, they will change, not because they really be impressed by Red Dead Online, save Red Dead Online hashtag, but because it's a time for them to change anyway, and some sort of a movement like this will be a small push, like, as they were like, oh yeah, anyway, we had to change someday, why not now? It's good for our publicity, because it will kinda tell people that we are listening to the community, right? And let's change our behavior a little bit. I mean, have you mentioned this? Like, it's something really unusual, and I'm pretty sure that you are aware of it. They are starting to communicate with people on Twitter. It's never happened for like last 3 years, 2 years. They're replying, like literally replying to. So it's
like what are they replying to? All the positive tweets telling them how much they love the game?
No. They are replying to some first. I don't know if you've seen it. Like, dude posted some of the news channels. I don't remember who exactly. When they changed this problem with contractors.
And they replied saying, "Yeah, we did," and with the cool emoji. So
yeah, and like,
look, with all the respect, sir, but that's not communicating.
But it's
just
yes.
Like, the only time let me put it this way: whenever we start screaming about Rockstar, please communicate better. They post a few tweets, or retweet some more snapmatics, and they called it a day. That's like I've seen it happen so many times.
It was not happening for the last 2 years, like at all.
Like Rockstar, my idea of communicating is when Rockstar goes out of their way, provides with a roadmap, and starts actively over the next several months, like being like, okay, this is what's going on, this is what you can expect. Like, start communicating like actual proper like
Yeah,
like an actual
we
proper
all
quote
ask
unquote
for
community
this
member
type of
manager
communication.
without trying to insult them. But like when I'm comparing what the Rockstar Twitter looks like compared to like something like I don't know, like let's say Warzone or whatever, like Raven was on a 2-week break, right? And they came back and like, look, sorry guys about this, but we're back now. We're gonna start sorting things out, and they release patch notes and they release all sorts of things. And Warzone, just like GTA Online, is a live service, but they're doing a better job at it. And it's just one quick example because I'm sure that's not the only thing. I think that there's all other sorts of live games that are having
Any
the exact
live
same
game,
thing.
any, because they
Yep.
depend on this. It's their money. Communication is like part of their profit. It brings them profit. I agree with you, but you know what? You're asking for revolution in their behavior, and I'm saying that there is a
Well, I mean,
small,
what do you
tiny
want? Like,
evolution.
you just want them to like give him a reply to your tweet, telling you, "Cool, yes, we did it." Like, that's
No,
not.
no, I'm just saying that it might be a first step in their changing, because they forced to change, not because they want to, not because they realized at some point that, oh, well, maybe we should start communicating because it's cool. No, I don't believe in this type of trash, because, they are companies, they think only about profits, and when profits are starting to decrease, only then they start thinking, oh, maybe we should change something. Maybe we should do some better job at some aspects. And in my opinion, that's what happening right now. It's just they are not that flexible to change in a radical way, like revolutions that you're talking. Because, like, imagine if tomorrow they will start posting all the stuff that you mentioned from Call of Duty. Like, will you be surprised? Like, honestly, will you like be like, what? It's unexpected. It's nothing that anyone expects. But like small changes here and there, and who knows? I mean, maybe it's an optimistic point of view, but at least again, they only reply to GTA Online players. They ignore Red Dead Online completely. It's no changes here. Here we have stability. It's fine. Nothing to worry about it. But maybe, since GTA Online popularity is decreasing, they decided to, like, what do you think? But because, I mean, okay, you said that you've seen it before. I haven't seen them replying to anyone in this way, like, for the last 2 years. They were just keeping radio
Oh,
silence.
they do from time to time, but it's mostly just to like compliment them on like a snap or, like so
Retweet.
very rarely like anyone is actually asking something. That happens very very rarely. But the only time to give you some like actual examples of when Rockstar communicated on an actual level is when their backs are against the wall and they have no other choice.
Like
The most
when?
recent example being the trilogy, quote unquote disaster. The other example being GTA Online's launch, and the other one being when Red Dead Online was in the state it is during its beta phase. Those are the three things that come to mind when the last time is that Rockstar actually properly communicated. Sure, they also post newswire posts where they're like, okay, this is what's coming in the summer and in the winter, like typically around the at the end of the first half of the year. Okay, there's a summer update coming. This is what's going to happen. Yada yada. Like that to me is the kind of communication, like letting us know what's in the pipeline, what's to be expected. But Rockstar is not going to come out and say, just straight up say, all right, guys, look, due to disappointment in earnings or whatever, we're no longer supporting Red Dead Online. That's not Rockstar. They're too proud for that.
No, it's
They're
costs them
they're
money.
sitting-
Unfortunately, they're not gonna say it for different reasons. It's money.
No, but like they're even no matter what way, no matter what way you want to say it, or how glorified PR they will make it, they will never go out of the way, which translates to we're ending support for Red Dead Online.
Yeah, because they will not be able to legally sell gold bars. Just I think it's super simple.
I have no idea. But another
They
example
cannot.
for that reasoning too is the fact that with the GTA trilogy, they delayed the physical copy, released another patch, which is undoubtedly on that disc too, and then they stopped patching the game, even though there are still plenty of issues with it. Whether it's original bugs or new ones, they've stopped because there hasn't been a patch for the game in months now.
Okay, so it's an interesting part of the problem. What do you think? Will they ever release some sort of a big patch for GTA Trilogy, or it will be
No,
left like this?
it will be left like this because it functions and it's fine.
But I'm
And no
asking.
one, no
Yeah,
one, no one is giving them any backlash for them at the moment, so it's fine.
yeah, people kind of
The
forgot about
game
it.
is stable. The games runs as it should. It's fine.
Uh,
They don't have to do anything about it anymore.
the
Even
only
though
reason
I'm
why
sure there's many things to fix still.
I asked about this GTA trilogy is because there was a pretty popular opinion translated by Test2, I believe, the first place, that Red Dead Online, and originally he said the GTA Online, but I was like always saying that it's not gonna happen. Anyway, they updates for these two projects will be delayed because Rockstar needs to spend a lot of resources on fixing Trilogy and apparently on finishing Expanded and Enhanced. And now it doesn't look like that because, you know, they did fine with GTA Online. Nothing was really delayed, maximum for 1 week there. And they are not spending any resources on Trilogy. So it's...
Oh wait, okay, so I think for feel free correct me if I'm wrong here, chat. It was like 2 or 3 weeks or something, maybe 2 to 4 weeks, where we were getting pretty frequent patches, and they were relatively large in size as well. They were generally fixing things. And then after 1.04, it stopped. And I think those resources, I think there was pretty much probably right around the time that they were going to take time off for the holidays, so everyone went on holiday. I think around this time everyone is going back to work, and now everyone is probably working on Expanded and Enhanced, because that is supposedly coming out in March, which I wouldn't be surprised by if they were to give the delay as well.
Again?
But I guess we'll have to wait and see for that, to see what's happening with that. But yeah, I think that they're full focused on all those people that were working on the trilogy are now back to working on Expand and Enhance, making sure that's going to come out in March.
And so, like, your point of view, no one is working on Red Dead Online, like, at all, right now.
I mean, there might be something in the pipeline, but I honestly, like, there's no signs that anyone is.
Yeah, that's actually true. It's something
Like
but
that's why I have the opinion that I have, because there's no evidence as to anyone working on it. Rockstar, like Rockstar PR, I guess, is making event weeks that are currently just being a month long. So that to me just says, okay, well, we'll just have to think about a month event week for just a one, just a one time a month. And I wouldn't be surprised, like I would not be shocked at all if they're doing the same thing in February as well. And I think I mean, maybe I'm too pessimistic, but I think this is gonna be the new standard: month-long event weeks.
yeah, so far it looks like this, yeah, but I mean... so, look, I agree with you on most of the points. It's just like some things that I see differently, but as for like the sad state of Red Dead Online, I agree 100%. I was talking about this like long before this December. But however, it's just like, from my point of view, correct me if I'm wrong, you got hated on Red Dead Online because on Red Dead Online, no, not on Red Dead Online, on Twitter by some people, because they saw these comments about Save Red Dead Online of yours as a sign of you hating Red Dead Online. But I see it as a sign of like being not optimistic to the point that you lost all the hope and you just saying, like, stop wasting, not gonna help, not even worth trying. Am I right here?
Hold up. So, sorry. I was kind of trying to follow that. So, basically, what you're trying to say is me giving up on it, telling people to give up on it, because I've basically given up on it based on the fact that what I...
That's how I see
what
it.
I'm thinking.
You lost the hope. It's clear.
I lost hope like months, if not years
Yeah.
ago, bro.
I know a lot
I
of
mean,
creators
every
who
time I
quit.
came back to the game for an update, it was like, okay, maybe this is the one. And then I look at it like, yeah. After a day, I'm like, yeah, this is once again another nail in the coffin. This ain't it.
Yeah, unfortunately. So,
But it's just like I'm just like again like I might be someone who has a like a YouTube channel with a couple of subs and a Twitch channel with a couple of followers, but it doesn't really change that I'm still just one person with one opinion. Like if there's folks out there who are watching this and have a vastly different opinion than I do and still enjoy the game, then by all means go for it. I'm just simply making the video with my opinion on how I feel about the game, and I'm making that video solely for the fact that I feel bad for the folks who are still sticking with it and are, I think that's what a lot of the whole a lot of people are getting wrong about it. I'm not saying that like I'm not pointing the finger and laughing at the RDO community. I'm in a way giving them a hug and saying like you're wasting your time because
exactly.
like you're wasting your time because the people that you are trying to wake up have taken so many sleeping pills that they're not going to be awake for quite some time.
It's actually why I decided to invite you on this podcast, because I saw this video, I saw your post, and then I saw some dudes on Twitter pointing at you and like saying that you represent part of the GTA Online community who's not only not supporting Red Dead Online, but like being, I don't know how to translate it, but being kind of happy that Red Dead Online is dead.
Dancing on your grave, basically.
Yeah, dancing on a grave, and I thought that it's a incorrect perspective, and kind of decided
I
to.
don't want to dance on any game's like any game's grave. Tongue twister. Any game's grave, like ever, for the simple fact that there's always going to be folks who are enjoying it. It probably still has a passionate community behind it, and the simple fact is that it's still, that word that I like to use, potential. But potential doesn't necessarily translate to, an active enough player base to justify making more updates too. And I feel that's a lot of like the arguments that I've been thrown at me quite a few times as well, which I actually find quite funny. It's like, well, if it was GTA Online, then you would be talking differently. That's like, no, the conversation would be the exact same thing. Replace Red Dead with Battlefield, and the conversation again is the same thing. Like, it doesn't change. It's still the same conversation. It's a game company neglecting their player base and their game, and the only people they have to blame is themselves, because they are the ones that have fucked up. They are the ones that launched the game with very little content, and they continue to add very little content to it that was also, and when they did, it was uninteresting to the majority of people. When you
Yeah,
think about a cowboy game, when you think about a game set in the Wild West, you think about being an outlaw. Think like, walking around with your revolvers in hand and, showing everyone who's boss, just getting that true outlaw feeling, having that wonderful Red Dead soundtrack in the background as you're riding on your horse and jumping on a train and robbing the local coach and maybe even rob the train while you're in the process. My idea is not to go to the nearby animals, shoot him 15 times with some sedative ammo, and then stick a little needle in him and call that a day. Like that's inherently because the identity and the thought process that people have with the Red Dead Online video game is not what it currently is. And I understand that the world of Red Dead Online, or just more specifically RDR2, is wonderful, and there's many secrets that are probably still yet to be uncovered. But exploration stuff is already in the game, and they've waited too long and then gave too little and too late, and they just continue to think that this way will be the way forward. But I think they finally realized the investors probably have had enough and were like, fuck it, just pull the plug. Because another wonderful comment that I saw on the video I did, on the video that you watched too, thanks for watching, is that basically the most important consumers that Rockstar has are their investors. And the examples of, but No Man's Sky, but Fallout 76, but this game, those are like such niche examples. No Man's Sky is an indie game. Like sure, Fallout 76 you could justifiably like maybe use an example, but the game was like so completely broken at the start that it kind of needed to be fixed regardless for all those people that ended up buying the game. And I think they already had set out like such a long-term plan for it that they kind of just decided to stick with it and hope for the best.
Yeah, but Red Dead Online is also a niche game. It's also something.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be a niche game, because the game like
setting,
it's a niche game, but it's also a game that has sold
40 million copies almost. 39.
Like it's a game that sold 35 million copies.
39. They count Red Dead Online standalones actually, but 39 according to the last.
39, right? Is it including Red Dead Online copies sold?
Yeah, they include. They never. You know what's the thing? They never shared the data on amount of copies they sold for Red Dead Online. I assume because it's not impressing. But anyway, they from what I see, they just include this number into Red Dead Redemption copies in each investor's call. Because there was a huge spike exactly when they started to sell Red Dead Online, but still not that significant. So it kind of failed Red Dead Online standalone from what I see. At least they don't want to share any information about it. So
one of the things that I always find interesting, this is a thing that we talked about yesterday, is that there was like spikes around certain updates. And I think there was one where they went, the most players ever. I think there was around the time that they did the prestigious Bounty Hunter, I believe. Like around that time, I think they also released Red Dead Standalone, if I'm recalling this correctly. That was like a big spike. Biggest update ever, blah, 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 most players, yada, yada. But the simple fact was that they were releasing Red Dead for $5 and people were just checking it out. And I'm pretty sure that was like where the spike came from, and not from, oh guys, you can buy an expansion on the Bounty Hunter role. Whoa.
No, obviously Bounty Hunter role expansion was not that attractive for most players.
That's another example. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, you started the sentence with not a sentence but statement with talking about investors. But you know what's funny? I was listening to Take-Two's investors calls all the time. And quite often, investors are directly asking them, like, what about Red Dead Online? What the hell? And they always replying with some stupid nonsense like, you know what, we are so proud of... No, let me
Ask Rockstar, next!
Yeah, but no, it's Take-Two, and they saying something like, oh, you know what, Red Dead Online is doing great. It surpassed our expectation. And they said it like this summer or something. And I guess they were expecting that it will finally die. And it didn't, at least completely. So it's technically surpassed the expectations. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that investors, I actually have this question in their head. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, you have this awesome IP and literally sold, you have the customer base, potential customers for this game of 40 million people almost, and you're not making really too much money from it. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, what's happening? And they actually asking this question on a Take-Two investors calls. It's called investor call, and they don't have an answer from Take-Two. That's why, actually, you know, it might be really optimistic and naive to think, but I think that save Red Dead Online, if it can something achieve, it's definitely not to receive attention from Rockstar, because they know all this. They have more data than I or you, and they all know what's happening. But it might get additional attention from shareholders, from this overall publicity negative. That might... you know, like, if investors will, on the next call, which will happen in February, again will ask about Red Dead Online, and then again, maybe it will force to some changes, lead to some changes. I don't know, like, give me, I said this idea like few times. What do you think about it? Is it possible? Is it too optimistic? What do you think?
What, harassing them during investor calls?
Not harassing. You cannot harass them during investor calls. I mean, I wish I could call them and introduce myself as
yo, Strassi boy, what's up with the Red Dead Online?
Yeah.
What's going on, boy?
Save Red Dead Online, Strauss. No, like, I mean, can it lead to actually change in public opinion, I guess, and maybe to start take two's people who are in charge, like, thinking about maybe it's worth investing some resources into Red Dead
Well,
Online.
let me put it this way. I don't think like if you're gonna ask them during an investors call, they'll probably try to come up with some glorified answer to
Yeah, like they
to
do.
keep investors interesting. I don't think investor calls is the place to ask for game updates.
No,
Because
it's not me who gonna call.
they will always reply with the following: it's still doing great.
Yeah.
You just ask Rockstar for game announcements.
Yeah, so you think it's like it has no potential, right? This plan, let's call it a plan. I have a plan.
I think like
I just need
don't-
more
I don't
likes.
Think I don't think it's the right cause of action.
But what
For the
kind
simple
of
reason-
action? Like,
Like I get it. Like you definitely try, but I think like don't they hand select those questions regardless?
no, they
So
don't
if you're
actually.
gonna have 10
No,
people calling, gonna have 10 people calling and asking about Red Dead when they've seen the hashtag.
no. Lucy, I cannot make a call, and I cannot make the question. It's people from Goldman Sachs are making these questions, and they on the previous calls few times were asking about Red Dead Online because they want to see some profits from this as
Actually,
an
no.
active.
Actually,
It happened.
no, because the it's not actually Goldman Sachs. It's actually I happen to actually know someone who's in my chat who actually gets invites to those things because he's actually got like stocks with Intake too. So please buy more shark cards. He needs more money. Jokes aside, so like it's not really the people that are just like the banks and all that stuff. It's just literally everyday Joes can just buy stocks and they can get invited.
Yeah,
to
but
it.
you're not gonna get voice heard because what I've heard, they always introduce themselves and they always represent some serious financial organizations. So that's from my experience because I listen to many of these investors called because I have nothing to do, and they always stand up and introduce, and it's always something that I know about. It's never like, oh, hi, I'm a Joe, I'm a plumber, I have 2 stock shares. So, like, what about drinking together, Strauss? It's never leads to this. I don't know. Maybe they have some filter. Probably they do. But from what I've heard, it's always these people sound like not an average fans, but like people who barely play any of these games, but care about money. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's my.
I think so. I think that investors really only care about one thing: is that the company is profitable.
Yes.
And like objectively, I think the player base was discussed yesterday as well, and one of the things that was brought up was that Red Dead Online, I think current player base is like 2,000-3,000 people or something. But this is obviously only on Steam. So like I guess giving it like a broad thing is probably like 10K,
No.
which is
I
pretty
disagree
decent, I
heavily.
suppose. But that's that. I mean, obviously that does include single player folks.
No. I have to interrupt you here to give like more accurate numbers. See, on Steam, 4,000 players are average like during the last few months, right? But there are also players who bought it on Rockstar Launcher, and there were a lot of them because on Steam it was released 1 month later. There are people who bought it on Epic, and we're not even talking about people on Xbox and on PlayStation. And obviously we're not talking about players on Stadia because there are only 5 of them and I know them all personally. But anyway, I would say that player base is way bigger than 10,000 people, like way bigger. Because, it only counts Red Dead Online Standalone. There are also Red Dead Redemption 2, and we don't know how many people are exactly playing, bought Red Dead Redemption 2 and playing Red Dead Online right now. I do, for example. But anyway, there are on average like 40,000, like 30, let's say 35,000 people daily on Steam playing Red Dead Redemption. Even if only 10% of this audience are playing Red Dead Online, it makes our numbers almost doubled. So it's far more than 10,000
I
daily.
honestly really doubt that there's 35k people playing online. I mean,
You know,
10% of
I
that
just
might
now opened.
make more sense, but
It's
I
now
I don't
right now.
like if there were
31.
really 35,000 people playing it on the daily, why are PvP lobbies are, they're not really all that active. I mean, I'm
Because
sure you
nobody
know.
cares about PvP, that's a big reason. But I'm talking about Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, there are right now playing 31,000 people, and there will be more in the evening. And 42-hour peak was 38,000 people. Yeah, there is an increase because there was, how it called, they sold it for half of the price. But like on average, I would say the daily average is like 30,000 players in Red Dead Redemption 2 full game. So I don't know how many players are playing Red Dead Online. I'm on that. But anyway, we would add that number. Let's say it's even 3,000. We add it to 4,000 from Steam. We got 7,000 only in Steam. And probably the actual number is even bigger. But there is also Rockstar launcher. There is also Epic. And there are superior Xbox and PlayStation communities. So what I'm saying is that there are a lot of players are playing Red Dead Online daily. Even now, even despite the fact that it's like was neglected for more than a year, and like, so they still have a lot of players. It's not that bad for some reason. I cannot explain it, but like the amount of players is not decreasing really. For Red Dead Online.
Is it not though?
Yeah, I mean, take a look. It's decreasing, but not dramatically. Not to the point I'm expecting it to do. So, for example, look, let's say this year.
The problem, if I may interrupt you, sorry.
Yeah.
Like the problem the problem that we have is that we don't have any concrete data on player count. Like we're kind of like, like throwing a finger in the air and like catching the wind and see like how quickly the wind is blowing.
It shows tendencies.
Kind of the issue.
So it can show tendencies. We don't. That's what I'm saying. I have no idea how many players are playing, but definitely not 10,000 per day. Much more. Because like we can for sure tell that like during the last month, average amount of players, despite the fact that nothing happened, was 4.5 thousand only on Steam, only on Standalone. And it's not that bad because Fallout 76...
4,500 on average on Steam?
Yeah. During the last month of nothing happening.
I mean, you want to throw a comparison to GTA 5?
First of all, GTA 5 does not... we don't know how many players are playing, just like with Red Dead Redemption, right? Second problem with GTA Online in comparison here with GTA 5. RP. RP is not really a big thing for Red Dead Online, it's a big thing for GTA.
I would argue against that, considering the fact that if you go to Twitch right now, you look at the Twitch live streams, the majority of them is already RP streams.
Obviously, because you cannot really play Red Dead Online on a PC safely. You're gonna get DDoSed or something in like 10 minutes, from my experience. It's just not a safe thing to do. So if you stream, you go for RP, but still not so many people are into RP yet. Because look, only Red Dead Online streamers are streaming it, unlike with GTA Online RP, where everyone is streaming it. It's a huge thing. So we cannot tell. I'm not trying to argue, like, I don't want to look crazy. I'm not trying to argue that GTA Online is less popular than Red Dead Online. It's obviously not so. But I'm saying that Red Dead Online has surprisingly decent results if we take into account that Rockstar is doing nothing with it, like completely, not spending many resources, like one update per year, which is only reused mechanics, nothing really new, and it's still doing like good. Like, for example, which is really weird to me, in June or in May, there were less players in Red Dead Online than it's now. In December or in November, doesn't matter. Way less players. And nothing really happened. But they still do better than it was back in May. So they should have lost, in my opinion, a lot of players, but it's not happening. It's a weird thing, and it's actually it might be one of the reasons why Rockstar is doing nothing and ignoring, because it works. Anyway, it works, and I mean, another since, you know, I'm trying to show that I'm collecting all this kind of stupid data that nobody cares about. I want to surprise you with another piece of data. How do you think?
I like surprises.
Yeah. So how do? What's your opinion, like prediction? How do you think? Like people are buying gold like often in Red Dead Online, or like never. What do you think?
Oh, you've collected this data as well, I take
Yeah,
it?
it's the most interesting part actually. It's surprising as hell.
I mean, I'm sure that there's plenty of casuals who are buying it anyways.
Yeah, but they shouldn't have to. Like comparing to GTA Online, there is no real reason to buy gold.
I would argue, if you're gonna argue that GTA Online you need shark cards, I'm gonna strongly disagree with that. Maybe at the very start to get yourself started, but generally speaking, no longer necessary, honestly.
I know that you can grind Kaya Perico like and have no problem with, but most people are not doing it. It's like I'm pretty sure that.
I mean, this is why GTA Online is still so profitable.
Yeah,
Apparently
yeah,
it
but
makes $2.5 million a day.
in Red Dead Online you don't even need to like grind. But anyways, like 50,000 votes and like answer no, I never bought gold bars is 47% only. So it was shocking to.
It's quite a lot though.
Yeah,
I mean,
but
you
it
have to
mean-
also take into account that you're probably getting this data from your channel.
Yeah, but 50,000
probably has,
people
like, a
is
more-
a lot. Like it's
Yeah, still, but like it's
from
it's,
different,
like,
you know,
people
levels.
people that are watching on this content, gaming content on YouTube, are typically the more hardcore crowd, regardless.
Again, yeah,
Especially on a channel
hardcore
like
crowd
yours.
is not like buying gold. They grind. If you mean
Yeah,
by
but I mean
hardcore,
they
the same.
take gaming more serious, basically. Is what I'm trying to say. It's not like your dad comes home, plays Red Dead for 2 hours a night, and goes to bed.
Yeah, but in my opinion, people who go back home, play for 2 hours once a week are the biggest customers, should be. Because if you take gaming seriously and grinding, like there is no way you will even buy gold in Red Dead Online. There is no need to. You will have more gold that you can spend like pretty soon. And I think that most of their sales are happening when there is some outlaw pass, let's say, and people are like, oh, outlaw pass, there is a cool hat, and I have only 3 gold bars, so maybe I will buy.
And daily objectives were nerfed, so fuck it.
Yeah, because it's like they look at the daily objectives and like, oh no, 0.1 gold
Yeah,
bar.
and on the same day that they're releasing,
Yeah, like it will take
the
like
standalone version in there for the daily objectives.
84 years for me to grind on.
They're
on
smart, but I hate them for it.
Yeah, they did. It was such a dirty move when they nerfed this daily. I mean, I understand the economics was broken, but I mean they should have fixed it in some different way instead of like, you know, nerfing it. It wasn't twice. It was a big nerf, extremely big nerf, and a lot of people quit actually back in December. Especially when Red Dead Online Standalone was introduced. So
I
are.
wonder if Red Dead Online Standalone really did much to the player base to begin with. I'm kind of questioning it, to be honest.
Actually,
I think
they
that
were good.
their idea, or one of their last ditch attempts to like try to save the game, was Standalone, and it seemingly has failed because there's not enough really to keep people in the game. It's like arguably for Red Dead Online progression, you go through the roles and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, there is no high-end content, but Standalone added. I'm pretty sure that it added a lot of players to them. Not as many as they expected, but like according to SteamDB by data, at least it was not a complete failure. So they basically. You know the funny thing with Standalone, they spend nothing on it. It uses the same client. Literally, it's the same client. You need to download all 123 gigabytes of a Red Dead Redemption full client. If you're buying Standalone.
And then you buy an unlock key for single player and
Yeah.
double dip.
And
Good
that's it.
business.
But,
free real estate.
but like, how much money have they spent on developing Standalone? Like, really, it has the same client. Like, what have they done? And they still earned a lot of money, like relatively, a lot of money. So they might see it as a failure, that's why they don't share numbers, but they still made money out of nothing, pretty much. But or maybe it was just testing for, you know, GTA Online standalone. They're just testing stuff in Red Dead Online to see if it's worth doing the same tricks in GTA. I sometimes have this feeling that all that happens in Red Dead Online is just they have testing. So let's say right now, oh look, here is a good argument for you to join Save Red Dead Online movement, right? So if I'm correct, and they're really testing some different stuff in Red Dead Online to later implement it in GTA. Right now they're testing how people will react to these lazy monthly updates. And if there will be not enough reactions, they will repeat this like half a year, maybe a year ago in GTA Online. So just, you know, think about it from this perspective of looking for your own profit. I'm just kidding.
Looking for my own profit.
Yeah,
Oh
but
no, I can't.
monthly
I can't upload my
updates.
weekly
How do you like it as a content creator? Monthly updates.
Well, we're not talking about like what is for me as a content creator. I mean, yeah, sure, I'll lose out on some dollar bills on a monthly basis, but like overall, it won't have that significant of an impact. Considering that it gets like what 20,000-30,000 views, which in a month, I mean maybe like close to 100. It's pretty significant, but I don't. But here's the thing: realistically speaking, that's not going to happen to GTA Online. For the simple reason is that the amount of times you see a comment of someone saying, "Oh no, I bought that car like yesterday. I should have bought it on discount." The amount of people that panic buy during event weeks because it's on sale for a week is probably like
always
one of the main driving forces between shark card sales.
Yeah, but I mean, you can say it's the same about Red Dead Online, and still, I mean, it's not that hard to make a weekly event, right? You just press 2 buttons and change discounts. And
yeah, you need 2 PR people in the intern to do it, probably. I don't know.
But who are these people? They're unpaid interns, probably, who in charge of updates. And if you're not making new pictures, which they now realize that it's a cool way to save some money, like how much it takes of effort to make a newswire post? Not that much. So, I mean, realistically speaking, it makes no sense to them to make monthly updates instead of weekly updates, from what I see. Even if they increase gold bar sales by some percentage with weekly updates, but simply, attracting people to go back and try something in Red Dead Online, it's still worth it, because it takes no effort. But they decided to move to monthly updates, and even in a way, and do it in a way that will achieve the maximum negative reaction. And that's something I don't understand. I mean, in my opinion, the biggest problem with Rockstar is just I see no logic behind their actions. About Red Dead Online, at least. I just don't see it. I don't understand whose idea is to make Capitale or Naturalist, or to pretty much any decisions. It's something that makes me sad.
The interviews that they gave pretty much spoke volumes, where they were going on about how they want people to be immersed with the world and all this stuff. They were trying to basically make Red Dead Online a single player, but then online, which is not going to work, because multiplayer games, don't really work as a single player game, if that makes sense.
Obviously. And single player has such a big difference with Red Dead Online. World is more alive, and like, let's say, one mechanic that annoys a lot of people in Red Dead Online and in Red Dead Redemption 2, actually, and that's why they call it boring, like when you need to ride your horse extremely slow from point A to point B, right? When you do it in story, you most of the time do it with some gang members, and he's telling you part of the story, like he introduces you to this world, to the story. It's cool. But in Red Dead Online, who are you talking to? Like, no one. You still need to go from point A to point B. I mean, for me, it's fine. I just I feel like it's an immersive something. But most people are finding it boring, and it's only one difference between Red Dead Redemption 2 story and Red Dead Online, and that's why like they need different kind of approach, in my opinion. But it's not happening, unfortunately. So, conclusion. let's jump into conclusion. Give your prediction. It's a question that I always like two questions for conclusion, actually. All traditional for this podcast. Like, first question: what should happen in Red Dead? I know that you think that it's not gonna happen, but what should happen to save this game? Like, what Rockstar should do, should add?
Well, allow me to repeat the exact same arguments everyone has made over the past how many years? Because that's kind of one of the reasons, if I may, one of the reasons uh, why I also say that I feel that it's kind of pointless to keep going on and on and on about it for the simple reason is that they know what people want, because been having the same kind of arguments with nothing really new for years now as well. So to use that same kind of argument, Red Dead Online needs to know that it's an online cowboy game with, what people think about the Wild West and not about picking flowers and taking pictures. It needs more engaging content, things to give people a reason to log in, go for challenges, replayability, having new goals, having things outside of roles, just focus on bringing more fun gameplay that makes sense in an online cowboy game, and you can't really find anywhere else. I don't think that farms and all stuff will do it. Sure, it has a place in it, but maybe later down the line or combined with other stuff. For the simple reason is that they need to focus on what appeals to like the wider audience outside of the core people who are currently rallying for the game. For the simple reason is that with the core player base, while they will stay loyal to your game and log in every day, they're not the ones that will justify you making yet another update, because you have to tell your investors, all right, this is how much we're predicting people are going to play it, this is how much we're predicting we're going to be earning with it, and that sort of usual business talk. The game has a very long way to go. I would argue that, if they were to try to make a comeback, it would be a very long and a very painful road. And I kind of think that is one of the reasons why they're kind of signaling to us at the moment that they have kind of given up. I think the point of no return has kind of already been passed. And that's really only to the fault of Rockstar. For the simple reason is that every time they added something, it was too little and too late. And the crucial moments where they could have gone around and be like, okay, look, guys, we understand you're frustrated. We're going to try and do this, and we're going to try to do that. They've had all the time and all the opportunities to communicate with your community, and they decided not to. And I don't think, knowing Rockstar, that they have a reason to change, thus they won't. I sound extremely pessimistic.
Yeah,
But I think that I'm basing that on enough fact to be that pessimistic.
but yeah, you're now trying to be realistic and give a prediction. What I was asking for is like use your imagination, like fantasy world. Rockstar decided to make a comeback. What should they add? Like Cayo Perico, but with cowboys and guns, or what exactly? Like, what do you
Well, I
think?
mean, my thing would definitely be heist, because heist is like the thing that's going to be mass appeal. Heist is something that if someone reads Red Dead Online heist, it's the thing that rescued GTA Online from the downward trend it was going through.
So they
Like
should just repeat it, right? Like they did.
Well, they can apply the heist formula from the original heist to Red Dead, and that can give it a good kick in the right direction.
But I mean,
But
it's not that hard to
it's-
do, right? If you think about it, like,
Well, the problem with that, and here comes Mr. Pessimistic Realist again, is that the amount of time, resources, and money it will require to make a heist update, I don't think that Rockstar wants to take that risk.
But they have all the mechanics, basically. They need to combine them in a
Don't
proper
think
way.
it's that easy as just going to GTA Online, be like, alright, this is the mechanics, and there you go.
No, they have them in Red Dead Online, actually. A lot of mechanics were basically tested in Blood Money. It's just they combined in a stupid way that it's not fun. But they have a lot of mechanics for heists, because these opportunity missions are like heists made at home. They are much simpler, but they have some similarities to GTA Online. It's like, yeah, they decided to skip the preparation and change it to grinding Capitale, which is an extremely stupid idea. But even if they take these mechanics that they already have in Blood Money Update and combine them in a different way, it might look like a heist. Good heist, bad heist, will people enjoy it? It's a different question, but it can be extremely close to heists that we have in GTA Online, in my opinion, with mechanics that are already in the game and that are already working.
Well, I like my rose tinted glasses. If I put those on, don't currently don't have them, but I'll physically put on some red glasses instead, to set the mood. But my rose tinted glasses, like if I look through those, I will, I see doing like awesome heists with, well, because arguably the gunplay of Red Dead is better. Like one of the things that I love, and I mean love, about RDR 2 is when you shoot a gun in Red Dead Redemption 2, you feel like you're shooting the gun. If you're shooting a gun in GTA Online, it feels like you're firing a wet tile. And they need to utilize, because Rockstar knows how to make a cool heist. They've done it many times. They've done it in single player. There's opportunities there to, choose to be an outlaw. We have all the opportunities in the game now to be that be that person that you can explore the world. It is now time to make stuff that, where you can just be an outlaw and just walk. Just imagine walking through the streets of Saint Denis, just with your 3 other friends, holding 2 revolvers in your hands, and just one by one shooting all those folks in the head as you're just making your way towards the bank, wave of enemies, and as you're exiting out of the bank, thinking that you made your way out, there's even a bigger force of cops waiting for you. You could even decide to go the stealthy route by trying to make sure you avoid those guards initially, and maybe even halfway through it, you'll still get caught and you still get all the cops on you. All those things, all those ideas that already exist within GTA Online can be transported to Red Dead, and then also made it in that setting.
And yeah, with better mechanics, because you mentioned stealth is uncomparable. I mean, stealth in Red Dead Online is far from perfect, but it's so much more fun.
It can be servable. Like, like whether you have throwing knives, so you could utilize throwing knives instead of like actually crawling up to someone. But like, Red Dead Online can be a very cool game, and one of my favorite things to do in Red Dead is call to arms, because I can shoot things. I can utilize that great feel of the game of Red Dead whenever you're playing it. Because like it's satisfying to Red Dead Online can be a satisfying game when when the right things are being placed, like the shooting mechanics and all that good stuff. There's plenty of opportunities to make it a great game, but they're choosing not to.
But again, Call to Arms, they just started it this summer. It's actually, technically, it's a part of Blood Money update, and in my opinion, it's the best things that happened for Red Dead Online in a long time. Call to Arms. I really enjoyed it. I played like the hell of it. But they added it, so they can follow in this logic at something that is actually good to Red Dead Online, and they did it like much. It takes them much longer than it should, but like they did it. Maybe it's the same thing will happen to Call to Arms. I'm trying to force optimism here. It's not like I believe. Don't think. I'm just trying to say that it's technically it's possible. So what you're describing is not even that hard to implement. All mechanics are here, just like with Call to Arms. All mechanics were here from beta. For some reason, it was not included. Like, I don't know. I have no idea why. It's not that hard to do it, because everything is ready. So,
That's fair. But yeah, I think my the short version of my roast in the glasses is really just heist. Because I feel that not only would really interest me, and I would even get excited about that, but I think the general public would be inclined to be like, oh, Red Dead Online. What? Only $20? Oh, check it out.
Yeah, it actually it's
Like I'm like
it's a good seller.
like genuinely speaking, I mostly my roast in the glasses are the roast in the glasses where Red Dead Online is a healthy game, and it's getting updates that the majority of people are interested in, and fit the style of the game.
Yeah. So the final question then. I kinda guess what your answer is gonna be, but still gonna ask it. Your prediction. 1 year later, like January 2023, Red Dead Online is not existing, is like drawn to like 500 people playing, or it's a huge success. Like, what do you think will happen? Like, prediction. What?
Honestly, at this point,
Yeah.
I don't know, because the problem with Red Dead Online as well is that that every time stuff is looking incredibly dire, and it ends like, you know, everyone is screaming about the game is dead and it's over. Rockstar then just, like, you know, does what they do best and just not say anything and still just release an update. And then there's like, here's like, let me put it this way: I wouldn't be surprised if there were to be a summer update. Like that wouldn't surprise me. I don't think that it's completely over. But the main thing that I'm saying is that I wouldn't really expect much of it anymore, because from my point of view, it's just beating after beating after beating and disappointment after disappointment, and I'm kind of through with it, or I have been through with it rather. And I'm pretty sure that, especially after this month, I mean, hell, even you are saying it, and you're one of the troops that is rallying, you know, with everyone. It's kind of like, I don't know where this game is gonna go, but I just don't think that it's gonna. I don't see it thrive unless there are some really significant changes happening to it. I just, yeah. I hate to be negative Nancy about it, but I don't have a lot of faith in it at all.
But you're still more optimistic that it looked, because you haven't said like, oh, 1 year ago it's dead, like it's over, who cares? You still have hopes, as it turned out.
I don't have hopes. Let me put it this way: like I don't sit here on the edge of my seat like, oh, you know, I truly believe that Red Dead Online will get updates and all this stuff. I don't think so, but I wouldn't be surprised if there still were to be an update. Like, let me put it that way: like, I wouldn't be surprised, because like we've been in the situation before, but I wouldn't. So, long story short, I wouldn't be surprised if there's another update, but I'm very what's the skeptic? Is that the right word?
Yes.
No, that's not the word. Yeah, skeptic, whether or not, or blah. Very skeptic about there being one.
Skeptical. I know this word. It sounds similar in Russian. I'm sorry for interrupting you, but I just want to say words in English.
Yeah, true in my chat is going insane because skeptical. There it is. Yeah, that's the word. Thank you. True was a fellow comrade. It's like Slava Ukraine or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah,
he's all excited to hear a fellow Slav.
He wanted to say Slava Ukraine probably, because it makes
something like that. Yeah.
So yeah, short story long. I'm sorry for interrupting you. It's an awkward moment always when I interrupt someone.
It's so good. I do it all the time, but it's mostly because my ADD starts kicking in.
Mm-hmm.
But what's your also, of course, I mean, you know, let's not be rude. Let's hear it from the kitty cat himself. What do you think? January 2023. What we're looking at?
I mean, I have the same question as you. I don't know.
That's a revival.
I don't know. I have literally no idea, because I agree with you on most points that it looks extremely bad for Red Dead Online. And again, there were points where at the history of this game when it it was pretty much the same. Like actually, when clown movement happened, right? But now it looks even worse. But who knows what Rockstar is doing? I mean, I see no logic. It's hard to predict someone's action when there is no logic visible behind them. It's like, monkey typing something. Can you say what it's gonna follow after F and U and C if it typed 3 letters, but it's monkey? If it was a person, you would probably guess that it's what letters will follow, but since it's monkey, you don't know. And I'm not saying that Rockstar is monkey, but I'm saying that I don't see visible logic behind the action most of the time, so it's super hard to predict. And so far it looks bad, but I'm still not losing hope. But after all, my prediction is same as yours. Like, I'm not. It's not like I'm having a high hopes, but it's possible. Or maybe the game will be dead by this time, like literally dead. It's not like they would turn off servers, because there are some servers, but it's not dedicated. It's peer-to-peer, so they don't need to spend that much resources to keep the game alive for the next 10 years.
Servers still for crying out loud as well. So
yeah, but I mean, the game will be dead, like first Red Dead Online, right? Or like GTA 5 was on PlayStation 3 for years. It's technically running, but everyone knows that it's dead. I cannot give any sort of prediction, any sort of chances, probabilities. I don't know, and that's the biggest problem with Red Dead Online. When you share no information at all, it's impossible to predict what you're doing. And on one hand, it might look cool, but on the other hand, it's pissing community off extremely. So, and it's the same situation with GTA 6, the same situation actually with Expanded and Enhanced. Like, it will be released in 3 months, right? 3 months left.
We know nothing.
Nothing. We have no idea what is this even, and it's the biggest release they are technically making in years, and still no information. So I guess that's part of their strategy. For some reasons they think it's good, probably because it's working, but I guess it's working for different reasons, just because they do good games, single player at least. But I mean, I have no idea. So I agree with you. I have the same answer. I don't know if it's for good or for bad, but I just think that I still think that Save Red Dead Online is like, at least it lets emotion to show your emotion.
Yeah, it never hurts to bring attention to a problem. But like my overall feeling just really comes down to, Rockstar's track record and being like, no matter how hard you scream about the thing, they're like, okay, cool, yeah, we're just gonna go for lunch. I mean, like Rockstar is in such a position where if they were to announce GTA 6, like all they have to do is post a tweet and then just go for lunch.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. Like
they're in such a comfortable position. They're just sitting on a mountain of money, leaning back and smoking cigars, and just slapping each other on the ass for a job well done.
They don't even show. They don't even need to show anything about GTA 6. They just post a picture where they can steal from Mr. Boss for the win. One of these like GTA 6 posters. Not even spend any resources on making it, and post it in Twitter. Not saying anything. Boom. Pre-orders are open here. Millions.
They'll retweet the GTA 5 Snapmatic like 5 times or 6 times, and everyone's like, "Is this a hint?" I mean, come on.
Yeah, and that's the problem. That's why they act this way. I mean, if it's gonna change ever, I don't know.
No, I don't think it is, for the simple reason that they like, I mean, every time they release a GTA Online DLC, they make buku bank, and they're getting away with the amount of output that they have right now. Like, the problem is that we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, and I mean, according to rumors, GTA 6's development is currently going through development hell, so it's.
Yeah, it's possible.
Especially with all those changes and whatnot, maybe go through a bit of a rough patch. But I think the rough patch is currently being held to hold against Red Dead as well. I don't know. It's just I won't repeat myself. But
okay, so I promise that it's gonna be the last question, but I just saw in chat some statements that I see.
Feel free, man. I'm just it's all good, I'm just hanging out. All good.
the statement that I see a lot, you see a lot, like comment. I will quote Brandon Williams. It's Take-Two, guys, not Rockstar. Boom. Bam, I'm showing, I'm dropping
It's
the
not
mic.
entire.
Like, comment.
Like, look, it doesn't really matter who it is. The decisions are still being made. Like, whether it's Take-Two, like the financial folks at Take-Two, or the financial folks at Rockstar, it's still head of developments that all have the same goal. The business has to make money.
Yes.
Like, you can blame X, Y, or Z, but it's still gonna be the same. That's still the same conversation. It's a business
Same
that needs to make
actor.
money.
In my opinion, they are same actor and should be treated
Yeah.
as such. Take-Two is like Rockstar is a part of Take-Two, or if you wish, Take-Two is a part of Rockstar. People who are making some business decisions and stuff like this. But anyways, it should be seen as one actor always. I mean, it's a brilliant idea to actually separate, and people like, so you know, if Ubisoft is posting a new game after they tried to sell the NFTs or something else, everyone like, boo, Ubisoft, like, boo, when they see Ubisoft on the loading screen. And it affects sales. But if Rockstar does something like, basically it's interests of Rockstar to go and sue this not mod menu users, but people who made mods for GTA 3, right? It will increase their profits, Rockstar profits, but it's Take-Two who's making it, and no one is really like, oh no, Rockstar sued poor fanboys who basically were doing good for the game for free. Everyone like, oh boo, Take-Two. It's not affecting them, so I think it's a brilliant idea. They did good here, tricked everyone. Not sure if it's cool for us customers, but they did something interesting. I haven't seen it really much in this.
I think
in
one of the
gaming
things
industry.
that some people might also be saying too is that people should think that Rockstar should split with Take-Two, thinking they will change. Here's a good
No.
example for you. Bungie, when they split from Activision, they just became just as greedy, if not worse, than Activision.
Exactly.
For the simple reason that it's a business that needs to make money.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I knew that you will give this type of an answer to this question. Anyway, thanks for joining. Thanks for having this conversation. I hope I was
Likewise.
not interrupting too often. I usually
Nah,
try
it's totally
to.
fine. It's conversation. You know, you're getting all excited because like, ooh, I want to say a thing. I have a great thing to say that I think will really help the conversation. And you get the
Yeah.
It happens to me all the time.
It's not
It's
it's
so
not a lecture in the institute after all. It's a debate without the person who moderates it. So anyway, thanks for joining. Thanks for clearing up your point of view on the future of Red Dead Online. And I'm just reminding you that it was Gtamen, GTA Online and Red Dead Online YouTuber. And we were talking about this Save Red Dead Online movement. You still can, it's like small advertisement, but you still can go and play something smart or stupid, doesn't matter, on Twitter and use this hashtag. Who knows, maybe it will make some effect. Who knows? Worth
Fight the
trying.
power.
Yeah. Never give up. Never give up. Anyway, thanks for anyone who joined. Thanks for anyone who placed a likes on this translation, on GTA Man's translation on Twitch. If there are likes, I'm not quite sure. So, other likes on Twitch.
No, it's called Twitch Prime. That's.
But you cannot place a like if you like the, your session.
Twitch Prime will definitely tell me that you liked it.
Oh, so it's the only way. Okay, so but anyway, who bought Twitch Prime, and my analog is Patreon supporters. Also thanks to you guys, and see ya next time. Hopefully there will be, I always hope that there will be some optimistic topics to discuss, but it's not really happening. But who knows?
He's like, I don't want to be like the Gtamen guy shitting on the game. I don't like him.
Anyway, thanks for joining.